This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by Icom America. Well, good evening to everyone. Boy, it's July the 18th. Man, time is really flying here. July is almost over. I want to say hello to all of our listeners out there on WBCQ. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And if you've got internet, you can go to watch us at w5kub.com. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. Give us a signal report. Tell us where you're located. Last email I got was from a guy down in Chile. He listened to the show down in Chile one night. So thanks a lot to Lord Robert up there. I haven't seen Lord Robert in the chat room in a while. Is Lord Robert at WBCQ in the chat room, Walter?
I noticed, no.
Well, I don't know what's happened to him the last 3 or 4 shows. He used to be here in here every week, but he does get us on the air up there, and we're thankful that Robert can get us on the air and get our broadcast out over shortwave. Let's see, tonight we got I think a good show tonight. We're going to talk about the Huntsville Ham Fest. We got Dave in here, Dave Kassler. Ask Dave, and he's going to talk about oscillators and what do they do. Everybody's got an oscillator. Then Walter's with me, my pilot friend, my wide body 8300 FedEx pilot, Ham, KJ4UCE is with us tonight. He's actually watching the chat room and taking down some numbers. Kathy is on the road tonight. She is heading to our home in North Carolina. Got a late start, so she probably will get to the house about midnight tonight over there. It's a long drive, 10-hour drive, over 500 miles. So I'm kind of a bachelor for a few days. I'll be going to North Carolina here in a couple of days, but I will be back in time for the show next week, and it's going to be a good show. But toward the end of the show tonight, Walter and I got a little segment. We're going to talk about don't do these things in ham radio. Is that the title, Walter? Don't do these things? Or something like that. Things to not do, yeah. Don't do these things if you're ham. Okay. So let's see what we got going here. Let me see if I can find our guest. That will be Mark Brown, N4BCD. Mark is the spokesperson for Huntsville Ham Fest. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good evening, Tom, and thanks for letting me on the show.
Well, you're welcome, man. We would love to have you guys on anytime. And let me fix something here. There we go. Yeah, hey, anytime. We love to have you guys on. Boy, I tell you, this Ham Fest is special in my heart, and boy, we've become a part of it. We get down there every year, and it's just really nice, man. Hey, before we get right into it, I've got a picture here. This belongs to you. Let me see if I can find it. Boy, I've got so many. Here we go. I've got so many pictures. Now, this looks a little. I don't know what the word is here, but tell me, is this your car?
Well, no, that's an antenna rotor.
Oh, well, that's the antenna rotor. You just kind of. Well, that's an expensive antenna rotor.
Well, the antenna, we built that just a little out of Home Depot sticks and wire because we saw in some public service events guys were using these hardened aluminum threaded rod things. It's very expensive. I wanted to see what I could do using store-bought hardware store stuff to build a 4-element quad. And as you can see, I built the little stand or tripod that it sits on, its guide to the roll bars, and we took that to field day. We used it at a couple of public service events and made some simplex contacts on it. It's not perfect, but it was a lot of fun. The wind noise was really bad on that.
I'll tell you, you skimped out. You went real cheap with the antenna pieces there, and it looks like you put a lot of money in the rotor.
Yeah, that's my midlife crisis there, Tom.
Yeah, okay, wow. Well, hey, you're here to talk about the Huntsville Ham Fest, and It's kind of a sad thing when we start talking about it tonight because everybody probably remembers. Let's see. Let me get the right picture up here. Everybody probably knows Charlie Emerson, and many may or may not know, but Charlie passed away just I don't know when was it? What month was it?
It was in January.
In January, okay. And we're going to miss Charlie. He was a big part of this Huntsville Ham Fest, and I see that you guys are going to honor Charlie there this year, and keep the tradition going.
That's right. Nobody can replace Charlie, and we are going to have some type of memorial service there at the Ham Fest for him because, like I said, nobody can replace Charlie. Everybody loved him. At the request of the committee, I went down to Orlando and to Dayton, and I can't tell you how many vendors spoke. It just amazing highly of Charlie and how much they enjoyed being with him, being around him. Great sense of humor. Everybody loved Charlie.
You know, I had a picture. I didn't bring it out, but Charlie had one of these motorized chairs, and I hijacked it a few years ago up here. I got in that thing and took off in it. Oh, okay. So, hey, I'm seeing people in the chat room already talking about they wanting to come, maybe ride the bus. Here's a guy from Dayton. I don't know if they got a bus coming down from Dayton or not, but I don't know if he's talking about a private bus. Now, I know in Memphis here, right. They run a bus, and for X dollars, a whole group of people get on that bus about 6 a.m. and ride down there. They can sleep on the way down. And for whatever the ticket is, they get entry into the Ham Fest. They get their food paid for them. They get to see the Ham Fest all day, and then at about 5 or 6 o'clock, they drive back home. So, man, that's the way to travel. Do you have other places that do that?
I'm not sure if I think the Memphis bus is the largest one by far. There may be some other smaller ones that come at different times, but I've been inside for the Ham Fest, so I have not seen those coming and going.
Okay, well, I know there's a bunch of people going to be on that bus coming down, and I've talked to a lot of others from Memphis that are going to convoy down. So you guys have got a great show, and there's going to be a lot of people heading down here, at least from this area. And you know, I know people from around the U.S. come to the show. This is probably is this tied for maybe the second largest in the country?
Well, we're a little behind Orlando in attendance, and certainly behind Dayton. Even the move to Xenia, they reported some really good numbers up there. But we draw a really good crowd. I don't remember off the top of my head what last year's attendance was, but we pack them in, and both Saturday and Sunday, it's a lot of fun, and we just enjoy hosting what's been called the world's friendliest ham fest, and even the vendors and the flea market folks echo that sentiment. They talk. We treat them well, and they enjoy coming here. It's a comfortable facility. It's indoor, air conditioned. Even the flea market space is air conditioned. A lot of parking nearby. So different logistics from Orlando and Dayton, but we really like the facility and the venue we have here, and folks seem to agree. They keep coming back, and we grow each year.
Well, I know you guys can easily. Here's a picture. Let's see if I think I've got a wide angle picture. There we go.
Yeah,
this is
kind of a panorama of the facility. Probably a busy Saturday where we got gigaparts there, and off to the left in that almost looks like incandescent lighting. That's the side part of the flea market area, and then back behind the vendor area, which is in the foreground. Back behind that vendor area then is more flea market tables, and that's taken probably from your stage area where
it looks like it's from our booth. Now, last week I showed the floor layout, you know, your maps of the vendors and the flea market area, and it's really got a lot of people don't realize how large this facility is. And the thing about it is, y'all can easily remove a wall down there and double the size of it.
Absolutely. Controlled growth. That's what the committee is looking to do. Just continue to grow the event, and the VBC is the Von Braun Center is an expandable facility. Like you said, they can knock out a wall, one of the partitions, and have more tables or more commercial space. So it's very versatile for us.
Well, here's a couple more pictures shot at different times at different angles. The red area there, for people watching and haven't been, the red area and the curtains are the vendor areas. the flea market is on the opposite side of this, and it's quite large too. Let me cycle through a few of these. That's kind of one end of the flea market there.
Yeah, that's looking back toward the main stage, back beyond those red curtains is where the main stage is, the prize barrel and all that good stuff. Lots of flea market, a lot of regulars. Norm the Rotorman from Birmingham, Tower Electronics. That might be no, that's not them.
Let's see, I've got another one here.
Tower Electronics is a fixture there. A lot of returning vendors, big and small. Stan, the tube guy, I heard he's coming. So if you need an 811, come to Huntsville.
Well, I tell you, I'm trying to find some different pictures here. The nice thing about this facility is, like when we come up here, we get there Friday, we can drive our truck inside this room. This place is so large. I'm talking about box trucks, big trucks drive inside, and you guys directing traffic around inside this building just to let people unload and set up.
That's right, and the Huntsville Amateur Radio Club supplies the volunteers to help with the loading and unloading, traffic direction, traffic management. But we try to get folks in there unloaded onto carts and get them to their tables as quickly and comfortably as we can, and it just makes things easier for everyone.
Well, tell us again about some of the people. I think Tim Duffy's coming this year from DX Engineering, isn't he? And
yes,
of course, who else is coming?
Well, Tim's coming as a visitor. It'll be his first visit to Huntsville. He's doing a forum on his multi-op contest station, and I'll get to the forums in a moment. But of course, there's Martin Jew from MFJ. He'll be there, and let's see, a lot of folks. Dr. Monty Bateman does a forum. He's a solar physicist with the university's Space Research Association. He does a very, very good forum on lightning safety, lightning protection. Mm-hmm. But the commercial vendors, we've got them all. Flex, Elecraft, Yaesu, Icom, Kenwood, Alinco will be there. Times Microwave, ABR Industries, you name it. If they're a major vendor, they'll be coming to Huntsville, and you can visit with these folks. And of course, Flex has the new the Maestro. They married the Maestro to their new software-defined radios, and so that's the hot new product. Icom's got the 7300 and what is it, the 7610, I think. So a lot of neat new products by a lot of vendors, and they'll all be here in Huntsville. So we're looking forward to hosting a great party this year.
That's cool. And I always see Martin when I'm down here. Martin he's a neat guy to talk to. We'll do some interviews with him. We'll have Tim Duffy on the show with us down there. And the nice thing about it, even after hours, we get to do things like go out to dinner with Martin and people and have a good time there. And Martin even picks the check up.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Here's a picture of Katie. This is a couple years ago. Now, Katie's a co-host on our show here, but she couldn't make it tonight. So I wanted to make sure that Katie got on the show tonight. So here she is with her big smile, and I don't think she's going to make it to Huntsville this year, but she's made it a number of years there.
Yeah, I saw her in Dayton, and I forgot to ask her if she was coming to Huntsville.
Uh-huh. So you also have a big youth event there, a lot of things for youth. What's that movie where they call it Utes? Remember that, the movie Utes?
Utes. The two Utes?
Yeah, the Utes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, I know y'all have, I think you have some robotic stuff going, and also I think this was a scavenger hunt where all the kids had to come by our booth and get us to sign off on it. Tell us about the youth part.
Oh yeah, and I mentioned Dr. Monty Bateman. He is our youth forum coordinator, and he's always doing something special with the kids. And like you mentioned, the scavenger hunt, the robotics, and there's always something new in that closed off area where the kids have a quieter place to work and learn stuff. So yeah, it's always a good thing. And kids under 12 are free.
Yeah, and there are already comments in the chat room about how nice the place looks. I mean, this is the Von Braun Civic Center. It's a first-class center, and let me tell you, the Embassy Suite Hotel is connected to it. You do not even have to go outside. Man, once you get in that hotel, you can walk through a hallway over to the Hamfest, park your car inside, and I can't say how much the climate, the environment is there. Boy, you guys have air conditioning, and it don't rain on you, and boy, it is nice and clean and pretty, and you guys are known as the friendliest Hamfest in the world.
That's right, and even the Haylarks. You might ask, what's a Haylark? The Huntsville Area YL Radio Club. The ladies, licensed hams, they take care of all the ticket sales. So they greet everybody that's coming in the door with a smile and sell the tickets and the door prize tickets, and so it's a deserved moniker, the friendliest Hamfest.
Yeah. Well, Jill from Dayton area, she's telling everybody on here that they need to go. You know, Jill was a big winner last year. She won the Kenwood Radio, and you know what? I never really won anything, but I won the Yaesu Radio last year.
Well, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I haven't won anything either.
Yeah. You know, hey, we give away a lot of prizes on the show over the last 15 years, and I've never won anything off this show.
That's right. There's a grand prize on Saturday and a grand prize on Sunday. There's also hourly door prizes, and I don't know what those are yet. Somebody else is working those. But we're about 4 weeks away, literally 4 weeks away from this massive party. And we got a lot to do, but a lot's done already, and we're going to be ready.
Now, you get a lot of participation in tickets right here. In fact, Joe Eisenberg, he usually buys about 800 tickets, but Joe's not going to be there this year. He's going to be watching the eclipse up in northern Nebraska or somewhere, so that means I got a better chance. But is this the newest ticket barrel, or was that the old one that broke? I think that's the new one.
I think that's the new one. That one looks very well constructed. The old one, I don't know what happened to that. Well, it did break.
It broke. It broke. In fact, you had so many tickets in it, it broke. And let me show you a picture here. I don't know if you remember this, but there were so many tickets that we had to put tickets in trash cans.
I don't remember that.
And if you look there, I don't think you can read that, but if you look there, the trash can on the left says, "Put your tickets here." And then the trash can on the right is trash. And since we're up there near the stage, people would come by us. Where do I put my tickets? Where do I put my tickets? I said, put it in that trash can right there. And they looked at me like I'm crazy. You know, I'm not putting my ticket in that trash can. But yeah, the old one got kind of overloaded, and it kind of broke there.
Yeah, we'll have enough room for the prize tickets, and we'll have enough tickets for sure.
Yeah. Hey, here's a shot right here before the show opens. And this is an interesting shot here. Tell us about it. You got a bunch of doors there, and you got a crowd back there.
That looks like a pretty big crowd just before 9 a.m. when the doors open, and that's probably Saturday morning. So
it is, yeah.
It gets real busy real fast. So if you're looking for a flea market bargain, you probably want to be in that line right there.
Yeah, boy, when they start coming in, I have to put a couple people there to guard the camera, and I put a couple bodyguards around me, you know. Let's see. We went over some of the pictures here. See if I got anything new here. Of course, you got all kinds of vendors. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe kits or something, or I'm not sure what that is.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
That it's over off to the side. I remember seeing that display. But yeah, there's just so many different vendors. Like I said, large and small. Some guys just get one table to kind of tailgate, so to speak. Other guys, some of the dedicated flea market guys will get 8 or 10 tables in a group or front to back.
Well, this is a huge center, very huge center, and we'll tell everybody your website. It's hamfest.org, hamfest.org, and you can pull that up and get all the great things there. And you know, for people that, and you know what, this is a family thing too. I've noticed there's a lot of kids come there, a lot of husbands and wives come there, especially on Sunday after church. And if you come in from out of town, there's other things to do there. Tell us about some of those things.
Absolutely, Huntsville is it's known as the Rocket City, And we have the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. If you come in on Interstate 565, you can't miss the life-size replica of the Saturn V launch vehicle that's out in front of the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And if you can take your eyes away from that, is an authentic, real SR-71 Blackbird parked in the in front of it on the driveway going into the place. So it's a great facility. They do have another Saturn V. It's mounted in a building. It's one of the Saturn V's that didn't launch when they canceled the Apollo program. I think there were 3 of them in the nation, and Huntsville got one of them. They built a dedicated building for it, marble floors. Along the outside, they have static displays of the various rocket engines from the various stages. And these aren't just mock-ups. These are the real deal. You can put your hands on the pipes, and they're just massive. And the horsepower and the thrust in foot-pounds, I can't remember what exact term, but it's if you're a science or a space nut, this is the place to go.
Oh yeah.
We have Monsanto State Park up on the mountain. If you get a couple of degrees cooler up there, I understand they do a lot of QRP activity during the Huntsville Hamfest weekend up there. The guys will rent a cabin. They'll do barbecue. But that's another activity during the or any time around the Huntsville Hamfest or even other times. Let's see, the Big Spring Park, just adjacent to the Von Braun Center, is a beautiful downtown park. The Big Spring Park, it's you can within walking distance. It's the art museum. A lot of restaurants are springing up down there. New hotels. They're really repurposing or reconditioning the downtown area, and not that it wasn't nice before, but it's going to be even better in the next couple of years. Lots of good stuff.
Oh yeah, well, and you mentioned the Space Center there. We had hoped, and I need to announce it here, our good friend astronaut Doug Wheelock was hopefully going to make it to Huntsville with us this year. He's been with us about 5 years now, and he was with us again for the 5th year in Dayton back in May. We had him a room reserved and everything, but at the last minute, Doug is informing us he's not going to be able to make it to Huntsville. So, you know, when you're an astronaut, you have real work you have to do. The guy is always somewhere. When he left us at Dayton that Saturday night, he was on his way to Russia, then he had to come back to New York, then he had to go to Scotland. So the guy is traveling all the time, and so we can't hold it against him, but we're going to get him to Huntsville one day, and because, in fact, he was stationed at Redstone Arsenal, I think they're at Huntsville for a while. Yeah. And the Space Center there, so hey, it'll be great if we can get Doug down here maybe next year.
Yeah, I met Doug briefly up with you in Dayton, and great guy. And when he talked about Huntsville, obviously he knew of the town and the facility because of the astronaut training that they do near the Arsenal with the Space and Rocket Center and all that. So Doug's a great guy, and it's unfortunate he can't make it this year, but we look forward to having another time.
Oh yeah. Well, let me see if I got anything else here before we go. I think we covered
Tom,
most of the pictures.
I wanted to mention a couple other things.
Sure.
The forums. We have a great lineup of forums. The technical talent, I mentioned Dr. Bateman, Tim Duffy's doing the antenna, the multi-op station. There's meteor scatter. Guys are doing meteor scatter, transmitter audio tailoring. Let's see, D-Start, Yaesu Fusion, Arduino, satellite forums, and balloons carrying amateur radio. The WB8 LEK, Bill Brown, no relation to me, but Bill has been published in QST. He has launched balloons from a location here in and around Huntsville, and had tracked him using APRS over the ocean, coming down into Sweden, the North Sea, and so he's got a lot of experience with this, and really does a great forum. So, like I said, it's a lot of really good forums. The league, the ARRL, will be doing their normal Aries races and division and section meetings and things like that. So, if there's an interest, there's no one right way to do this hobby, and so there's lots of varied interests and a lot of varied forums for folks to attend throughout the day.
Well, I tell you, it's an amazing Hamfest, and you won't be sorry if you go. I can't wait. It's gonna be cool, man. Hey, and you know what? We stream our drive live on that Friday. See, Friday will be setup day. We will stream our drive live from about 8 in the morning to 9 in the morning till about noon. We'll get to Huntsville about noon, and you'll see us. We'll drive right by the Space and Rocket Center, and you'll see all the rockets standing up out there, and you'll actually see us drive inside the Von Braun Center to unload to start setting up our webcast. You'll see us there, and then of course the show is Saturday and Sunday, August the 19th and 20th. Again, that website is hamfest.org, hamfest.org, and we're going to remember Charlie Emerson there, N40KL.
That's a great picture of him there.
As a guy that really put a lot into this Hamfest. Mark, anything else?
I think that's about enough for tonight. We just invite folks to come, and we're going to show them a good time. And we're looking really forward to hosting you, Tom, and anyone else who comes to visit Huntsville. So come on down, enjoy the Hamfest. Thanks a lot.
All right, Mark, thank you very much, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Take care, Tom. Thank you.
All right, goodbye. All right, so let me see if I can get our favorite person on here. Ask Dave. Let's see if Dave Kassler is around. He better be around, or we're going to have to cut his paycheck. There he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we can do here. I'm seeing the top half of your head. Let me see if I can adjust that, Dave. That's better. What was that shirt you had on? Star Wars. Okay, man. I thought it was Batman when I first saw it. All right. Well, hey. All right. Well, guys, we've got Dave on here. Ask Dave. Dave Kassler, KE0OG tonight, and he's got a lot of great videos out there. A lot of unboxing of equipment and tutorials on his YouTube channel. You ought to tune in to see that. And he's always doing something, man. I see pop-ups come up on my system every day, and I have to clear them off because he's so active in putting stuff up on YouTube. Wow. Hey, Dave, what are we going to talk about tonight? You got anything interesting? I'm sure it's interesting.
Well, I've been doing a lot recently with DMR radios, but I've put together a few pictures on oscillators, figuring that that's pretty fundamental to ham radio.
Sure.
I'm getting to the point where manufacturers are sending me things to look at, and my main focus is not reviews, it's tutorials, and so these get stacked up out there. And you know, if I really like the product, I'll give it a good thorough review. Otherwise, it'll be pretty short. But I'll tell you, everybody's trying to make it into digital mobile radio right now, DMR. So I've gotten a couple of new radios from China, straight from China. One hasn't even been released yet. So it's been an education for me. This past weekend, our club was helping out with communications for the Hard Rock 100 Ultra Marathon, which gives the runners 30,000 feet of gain and 30,000 feet of drop. Quite an amazing race. And the guy I was working the station with, K2PJ, Tom, back in North Carolina, has his own DMR repeater. So I was pestering him for everything I could learn about DMR. We don't have any kind of digital repeaters here on the western slope of Colorado, and the repeaters are rather expensive, so I don't think a free one's going to show up on my doorstep. So I'm going to try to test the radio with single time slot simplex here, see if that can be done. Lots of people seem to be into it. There's competing digital formats out there. D-Star seems to be the one that gets the most press. I think Yace's is kind of an also ran, and they would like more. I mean, we're at the same stage. You remember the old VHS versus Beta
Oh yeah,
wars?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
And
I wondered why anybody wanted to buy a Beta. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, I remember my sister bought one because she'd been told it was technically provided better quality than VHS, which was true.
Yeah.
That was true. But the thing is, it was a case of second to market and too little too late.
Yep.
And VHS just clobbered them. And at the same time, there was the video disc, too. You remember those. But, that's what's happening in the world of digital voice on VHF and UHF. The DMR is basically a Motorola idea, and it's taken directly from the work that Motorola does for all the mobile radios. The plumbers got one, the fire trucks got one, police have got one. Everybody's got point-to-point or point-to-mobile radios out there. There's a huge community out there of mobile radio that we don't even think about. But some hams, there's always some hams who are going to take anything and try it on the air. So some hams decided that they would, take some Motorola repeaters, put them on amateur radio frequencies, and see what happens. And I guess it's a pretty spectacular system when it works, but it is complicated. I'll tell you, just plain complicated. Oh, yeah. It's actually a time division multiplex thing where two people can use the same frequency at the same time. And depending on how you set it up, I mean, they have different ways of designating channels down to the caller of the channel, the talk group, all of these kinds of things. Far too complex for ham radio, but there's starting to be some standards consensus now over what's right. The big problem that the Chinese have had getting into this is that the spec was put together. I think it's called ETSI, or a standards organization that put together a spec for digital mobile radio. Now the thing is, and we've all seen this happen a lot of times, you build something that meets the spec, but it won't work in the real world. And I'm reminded, do you remember a few years ago when everybody was upset because new cars were coming out with those blue headlights and they were blindingly bright?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is a case of the headlight manufacturers very carefully meeting the federal specification. Mm-hmm. But what nobody understood was that the federal specification assumed you were dealing with certain kinds of optics and incandescent lamps. And so when, normal headlights didn't bother people, but those blue ones just drove people nuts because they filled the light out to the very edge. Whereas in a normal headlight, it kind of fades as it gets to the edge. Well, it's the same thing with these digital mobile radios. Radioddity, for example, tried their GD55. It was supposed to be a Tier 1 and Tier 2 radio, but it would work with a repeater. It would. But the problem is it stepped on everybody else in the process. So they went back licking their wounds and came up with a GD55 Plus that, as far as I can tell, they've solved the channel problem. They're only transmitting on one time slot at once. And then they just came up with the GD77, which is not quite on the market yet, which they think they've got all the bugs worked out. But right now, to get on digital mobile radio, if you get used Motorola gear, you can pay $800.
Well, the Motorola, my understanding is the Motorola is just, the cost is out of this world. Plus, I think, don't you have to pay for the program or something? Don't you have to pay for the programmer or something to even program it?
Yes, that's true, and it's a few $100 for that program. So, the people who have them, that being pushed by the Motorola hams and a lot of other people who've picked it up. And like this fellow that I was talking about, Tom, K2PJ, Tom Peralta. No, I totally botched his last name. He's a wonderful guy, and he spends a lot of time working in the two-way radio business, and he's put in DMR for companies like who send out plumbers or who send out construction crews and all of this sort of thing, and fully utilizing the capability of the DMR. And so it's natural for him to put a repeater on the ham frequencies. That's great. And what they do is the clubs will develop what are called code plugs. And these are pre-programming for a particular radio. You just install it in your radio and okay, it works wonderfully. The problem, what's happening is, of course, the Chinese want in on the action, not just for amateur radio, but for all that commercial stuff too. And so these are Part 90 radios, and they're trying to build radios that will work both for the commercial and for the hams. And what Radioddity says, they're going to come up with 2 versions of the programming software, which is free, and the programming cable is free. And one is going to be like for DMR users, like your fire trucks and so on. That's a fairly straightforward way of setting things up. And then they're going to have the advanced version that they're going to give to the hams. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Wow.
But that's what they're planning to do. I've got this radio from them that doesn't even have programming software built yet. So one of the lessons they learned was amateurs like to be able to enter parameters through the keyboard. And the original radios, there was a bunch of stuff you couldn't do through the keyboard. You had to do through the programming software. So they're getting better. They will get better. Some of the early efforts, some of the manufacturers came up with pretty good radios. Others didn't. Radioddity recognizes that it committed a big faux pas with what it was doing, and they took a loss on that. But they're determined to stay in the business, and they're just like a little American company that might be entrepreneurs. They take a good idea and make it better and sell them. And so Radioddity is just a small Chinese equivalent of that, located not terribly far from Hong Kong. And they've been trying for a year or two now to get that thing going. And doggone it, I wish I had access to a digital DMR repeater, then I could really test these things. But what I may do is, Tom's out here for a few weeks. I may send that new radio with him back to North Carolina to test and see if it really does work with a proper DMR repeater. So having spent hours with Tom this weekend as we were typing in race entries and communications for the aid station and so on, he gave me a good tutorial on this DMR.
Well, you're going to have to help me. You're going to have to help me. I've got D-Star here, which I've quit using. I haven't used it in a long time. And I've also got some radios now with Fusion in it. That's the other digital mode. I got Fusion. I never even tried it yet, and there are repeaters here with Fusion. So, man, I'm nowhere near getting ready for DMR. But I guess when I have to, I'll call you and I can go over your tutorial.
Well, the key thing is to get the code plug, meaning basically, we in hams would think of it as being cloning another radio, is to get that pieces of collection of settings and so on and be able to put that into the radio is what you need to get your radio working. Now, one of the key issues I have with all of the digital modes, and this dates back to packet, calling CQ can be a problem. these radios are not designed to call CQ. They're designed for point to point. You know who you're going to talk to, and you go talk to them. And I guess each one has sort of built in some modes where they can do a one-to-many kind of thing, which you would have to do for a CQ. But it may come to the point where we have to have a bulletin board for each repeater that says, hey, I'm going to be on at such and such a time, and I'd sure enjoy talking to somebody. So, yeah, the thing about VHF and UHF FM is that it works, and it's really hard to replace a working system.
Yeah.
So, I think it's good. I've got the box right here. Well, here is the radio itself.
Now, who makes that?
This is the Radiodity.
Okay.
So it's got the Radiodity.
I know
right
some of
there.
these Chinese DMR radios are coming out really cheap now compared to the cost of Motorola.
Oh yeah, this is less than $100.
Yeah.
And that includes the cable and the programming software.
Right.
Okay, so now this radio is not only DMR, but it's also a very ordinary dual band HT with FM.
Uh-huh.
So you can use this to talk basically to anybody, and a lot of the repeaters, like Tom's, is set up so it auto detects. If it's FM coming in, it'll repeat FM. If it's DMR coming in, it'll do DMR. And I think they're even talking about some kind of a way of the two working together. I don't know how that would be done, because the FM radio transmits all the time in real time, whereas the DMR has to hold the voice, make packets, and little things like that. And one of the interesting questions that I had for Tom that he didn't really have an answer right on the tip of his tongue for was simply, how does since the handheld has to talk over on either time slot 1 or time slot 2, how does the handheld radio know what time it is so it can transmit time slot 1 on time slot 1? What's the method for coordinating time between them? I don't know. He didn't know, so he was going to see if he couldn't find out more about that.
Maybe it has a GPS or something in it.
Well, some of the radios do, but I don't know.
One of our first shows that we did 2.5 years ago on Amateur Radio Roundtable, we did a show on DMR, and we had a guy from Canada on, very skilled in DMR, and I need to dig him back up and get him back on here, and we need to have another show with can answer some of these questions for us.
Well, I highly encourage that. Just to show you a little bit of the Chinaization on this radio, let's see if I can get that.
Owner.
Hold that still enough. Owner. Yeah. O-U-N-E-R. Owner.
Yeah. Well.
That's how you'd pronounce that, I guess.
That's right. I tell you, as long as you don't have to do some welding in that radio, you'll be okay. Yeah, most of the Chinese instructions where you solder, they call it welding.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
They've got a variety of interesting word choices. I remember when I was in the Philippines, many, many, many years ago as a Mormon missionary, you had to use the right English word because we have synonyms. They don't. They have one word for one given idea. You just have to figure out what word that is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, one other thing that bothers me a little bit is that when I put the first DMR video out, it was on the GD55 and the Baofeng DM5R. And both of those radios claim to be Tier 1 and Tier 2, but they're actually only Tier 1 radios. They don't, when they try Tier 2, they step on everybody, okay? I got a bunch of feedback from people who run DMR repeaters and so on that was pretty strident in tone. And they were wondering why this Chinese company chose to work with me rather than them, because they were the experts. They knew how it worked. And I think the stridency itself is the problem. Asians, in my experience, being polite is much more important to them than it is to us. And it's important to us. And if you go to a manufacturer and say, this is screwed up, you did it wrong, you guys are hopeless, you're going to lose them. They'll never talk to you again. But if you can go back to them and say, I've done an evaluation, this is what it should be, here's where we fall a little bit short, here's some suggestions for how it could work, they're far more interested in listening. And I think we should keep that in mind with the Chinese manufacturers, that the email blast or the flame is entirely counterproductive when aimed at a Chinese, or really even a Japanese manufacturer. And I don't know, it just comes back to me to common civility. If you've got a problem with somebody's equipment, let's just talk about how to fix it, but let's not do any ad hominem attacks where we're attacking people or their intelligence or anything like that. Because these are people who are very bright, well educated, really want this thing to work. They've got the entrepreneurial spirit, and they'd love to work with you if we can work with them. So that's my harangue.
A lot of the new hams nowadays, I can remember when I was a teenager, 16 years old, when a ham, boy, I didn't have money to buy a lot of gear or anything. And at least the Chinese are making some radios now to get some of these new people on. Now, there's a lot of controversy about, are they any good? Are they no good? And, but let me tell you, you start off with what money you have, and you learn ham radio, and then as you get a little bit more money, you kind of upgrade and you get bigger and better things. And there's a lot of people using these Chinese radios, and the thing about it is they're making them cheap. I mean, they're affordable.
Well, that's absolutely true. The Japanese, when they came into the American market, they had two things going for them. They were, at the time, still low-cost providers. People, and I can remember this when I was young, thinking that the term made in Japan meant it was junk.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That changed.
Yeah, it did. It really
and
did.
Then we had the big manufacturers like Collins and National and Hallicrafters, who were just taking last year's model and making it a little bit better. There were some very early attempts at transceiving, but generally it was a separate radio, a separate receiver, and a separate transmitter. And then the Japanese Yaesu came out with the FT101, and game over for the Americans, because this Yaesu was such a leap forward in usability, technology, and so on. I've got a FT101B in my closet here. It's a marvelous radio.
And it probably works as well today as it did back then. It's amazing. Wow. Well, Dave,
I think personally they sound better. I love listening on that radio. That reminds me of the radio I heard when I was a boy. Everything today is digital, and it's just a little different.
When I started out, we didn't have sideband. We had AM, and then I remember, boy, when the sideband came out, and they stuck around one little frequency, and boy, did they get called some bad names back then. But they took it over. They won. Well, Dave,
it was a better idea.
Yeah. Well, Dave, we're going to move on. I've got Walter Rook with me, KJ4UCE, a friend of mine, and we've got a little segment here on don't do this at home. If you're a ham radio operator, don't do this. And hey, if you want to stick around and just stay on, you're welcome too. And you can throw any comments in if you want to. We got some pictures here we're going to show, and it's up to you if you want to stay or leave. But would love to have you stay if you want to.
Well, I'm certainly going to listen.
Okay.
I want to get the benefit of his advice.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Dave. And hey, everybody go to www.youtube.com/Dave Kassler, and you can see all of Dave's videos.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
All right. Hey, thanks, Dave. And I'm going to get Walter in here, and we'll be right back in just a moment, everybody. Start this year's contest season with Icom. Heard it, worked it, logged it. The time is now to get your contesting equipment. Let Icom help you make as many contacts as possible. Start off strong in contesting this season with the IC7300, ideal for the ham on the go. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and an SD memory card slot. Use the IC7851 and get the most out of the contest season. Raise the bar and hear what others cannot hear with this HF through 50 MHz transceiver. It has reciprocal mixing dynamic range, crystal clear local oscillator, spectrum scope, dual receivers, and a digital voice recorder. The Icom Hams to America sweepstakes is coming to an end. There's still time to enter for a chance to win a grand prize, an unforgettable experience to attend the 2017 Tokyo Ham Fair. The drawing for the grand prize will take place July 17, 2017. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on Icom radios. All right, well, we're back. Let me scoot over a little bit here. Get Walter in here. And Walter, turn that volume down right on the end of that. Okay, all right.
It's gone.
All right. Well, you know, you guys know Walter. He's my FedEx friend. I retired from FedEx. When are you gonna retire?
As soon as I can.
Yeah.
I can't go but another.
But he's got an easy job, man. He flies those wide body airplanes. You know, actually, let me tell you, they really fly themselves. He don't really fly them. He's got a name as pilot, a title, but you jump in that thing, you press the start button, it cranks up, it takes off by itself. You set the coordinates in this. I've seen the pilot do this.
You just turn the key and off you go.
You turn that little knob to where you want to go, and then you just sit back. And
that knob or the other one?
Yeah, I've flown in here a number of times over the 30-something years I worked there, and you know, we're going to talk just a minute about airplanes. Then we're going to get into don't do this at home. You know, Walter, I remember one time I flew to Puerto Rico, and as soon as we took off, man, the plane hadn't even leveled out yet. The pilots took a map, and they covered the window, and they broke out the food.
What's wrong with that?
And, you know, they wasn't flying the plane, man, you know?
You turn the key and off it goes.
I guess. So, see, I mean, why do we need all you guys? How many pilots we got?
We're up to about 4,800.
4,800 pilots.
Worldwide.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, Walter flies the A300.
That's correct.
That's a pretty big plane.
Yes, it is.
And, oh, man, you ever had a landing gear stuck or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Actually, yeah.
On takeoff or?
Trying to throw them down.
Put them down? They didn't want to go down?
As it turned out, it was just a switch, a micro switch failure. But
don't you hate it when those switches do that?
I do.
Now, I've seen on TV, if that landing gear don't go down, one of you guys crawls back here and down in that hole, and you stomp on that landing gear to try to make it go down. You know, you get a cranky turn. Do you have a cranky turn?
No.
You do?
Yes, we do.
Y'all can do that, huh?
Yeah. And if that doesn't work, then that's when it really should get your attention.
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't work, you really are in trouble.
So if you had one gear, let's say you had a wing gear. You call it a wing gear or mid gear? What do you call it?
The main landing gear and then the
main.
nose
You
gear.
had one main landing gear that didn't come all the way down.
Yeah.
And you had a good front one and you had a good left one. How would you land that thing? What would you do?
Set it down on the one good one.
Would you leave the wheels down and try
yeah.
to set it down until it just
Yeah.
fell over? Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I guess if you found yourself in that position.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And you practice that in a simulator?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No, we don't practice crashing.
Oh, you don't practice crashing. Okay. All right. Look, hey, while we're at it here, and we'll get back to have some more fun here in a minute. I like talking to him about the. Man, there's so many stories, but I know it's not ham related. But anyway, hey, he did operate HF radio in the airplane for the first time a few months ago. We'll talk a little about that in a minute. I think he talked to one person.
I did. Made one contact.
So let's do this. You know, Walter and I, we were just thinking tonight. We've got a little segment here called "Don't Do This at Home." I dug some pictures up.
I think a lot of these pictures are of me, probably.
I dug some pictures up here, and Dave, you can chime in too if you've experienced this before. So,
Dave,
you know,
you may very well recognize some of these yourself.
now here's one here. That may be Dave standing up back here with a bottle in his hand. I don't know. To me, I don't know, man. You know, at least they've got the power strip floating with flip flops. I think that's.
Yeah, they get bonus credit for that.
They are taking some precaution there.
Right.
You know. Okay.
Yeah, well, just the combination of the alcohol and the water is an issue.
Now, is alcohol a conductor?
No, it's not the electricity part. You get drunk in that water, it's a great way to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I guess indirectly it could be a conductor to change your behavior.
Yeah. I guess. Well, you know, I'm looking at this power. That's probably a European plug. I think. I'm not sure. I can't see it, but that thing there on the side there. I don't know. Oh well.
I don't. Can't tell if that's European or Mississippi.
It may be down in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say. I'll get hate mail. I can't say that. Yeah. Send your hate mail to. Just look
BR549.
Yeah, look up Walter and QRZ. Send your hate mail there. Now, Walter, you drove up while ago. I got a shot of your mobile, and I'm just wondering, man. Now, do you think it's safe? That kind of looks like the inside of one of your airplanes to me.
It does.
Do you think you can operate all that? I mean,
well, that guy can still see out, so he's got room for more radios.
Well, he does. Look at that. He got one on the steering wheel. I like that, man.
I like that.
That's how you do circular polarization. You put it on the steering wheel and turn it.
Exactly.
That's cool, man. I like it.
All he needs now is an iPad for remote control for all these.
Now, I've seen a car in Dayton that had about 40, I counted the antennas, had about 40 antennas on it, but there may be more than 40 radios here. He's probably got some antenna switching in there somewhere, I'm guessing.
He might.
And probably beefed up alternator, big battery maybe, you know.
If he's got individual antennas, he looks like a porcupine.
Yeah, I'd suggest not doing this, especially if you're married. You know, my wife would probably. She's very good about anything I want ham radio related, but I think she'd probably complain about this.
I would think she'd probably be a little cramped riding over there and trying to hold that switch box.
Is that what that is?
Whatever this thing looks like 20 gauge shotgun shells all over.
I don't know what that is over there, man. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Well, I'll see what else we got here.
That thing could go off.
Here's one I think, Walter, you can relate to. All right, you got your A300 in Detroit, and you got to get out of town, man. You got to get home, and you got a fuse blown.
That's it.
You got a fuse blown. So
that is it.
Would this? Let me ask you. I mean, I know you have a lot of FAA rules, and you got company rules, you know, about things you can and can't do. You know, I mean, I was in the military, and you know, and Dave was in the military. Now, let me ask you a question: if the enemy was attacking, could you do this on your airplane and get it out of there? Would you?
Yes, if you had to, as long as they're galvanized so it won't corrode.
I'm not saying what you have. You know, I mean, you could put a 38 shell in there if you wanted to. You know,
That's
cartridge.
Right. I think that would hold a 223 case if need be.
You could snap you a 223 in there or something like that.
Whatever it took.
I would make sure it's kind of pointed away from you.
Well,
in case there's a lot of current draw. You know,
an empty one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so you could do that. They'd let you. I mean, I understand when you're in the air, you're the boss, right?
I disavow all knowledge.
Are you the boss? I mean, you can make you can marry people. I understand you're the captain of the plane.
That's right.
You're the sheriff.
I'm not marrying anybody.
You're everything
in the airplane. No.
So you can make any decision.
To meet any emergency.
Okay. All right. Now, I used to have a tower. And I haven't done this.
That's not you?
No, that's not me. But I have done something kind of crazy. I've stood on the very top of the tower with a safety belt around the pipe. And I tell you, That's not something you should do. And I admit that I shouldn't do it. I was stupid back then. I was very young, and let me tell you, back then I didn't even mass pipe. I didn't have anything strong like people use today. I think I had a piece of fence pipe or something stuck in there. Heck. So I don't know. But anyway, that looks kind of safe. You know, he's got a ladder, and it's kind of.
That is not safe at all.
It's kind of supported in the bucket, and he's probably got it tied to it. And
the way you've got that thing set up, where he's going to start putting weight on that ladder, it will push the bucket away.
Yeah, or it push the pipe over the mast. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I guess it pushed. I don't know. I don't have a bucket.
You might need a parachute.
Yeah. Well, you know, so. There are other ways to get out there, to tell you the truth. There are ways that you can get out to the ends of those antennas without a bucket and a ladder.
Good grief.
And if you notice there, I mean, the rope is bent a little bit. That element is actually keeping him. Actually, he could probably put a little slack in there, and he could probably crawl out a little bit further probably.
Oh, sure, he's got plenty of room. That hadn't even started to bend yet.
Yeah, I know. It's really.
He's got plenty of room out there.
Really supporting his weight there. Man, somebody said hit the rotator. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, now this guy here, he knows what he's doing, because you notice the plastic that he put under his clothes. He put the plastic under there so his pants wouldn't get wet.
Well,
and
he probably promised his wife he'd take her out to eat. Doesn't want his clothes dirty.
And I mean, I'm sure that provides some shock protection there through the behind part right there. But I'm not so sure about the feet part. But well, anyway, hopefully he's all right there. Now, a lot of schools nowadays are teaching people electronics, and
oh my goodness,
they're showing, they're running these advertisements in the paper about, and they're using these women, to show that women are now really, just like men, they're equal, are getting into electronics. And now, for some reason, I smell chicken burning here or something.
Yeah. You too can be an electrician.
Yeah, unless that's a new type of soldering iron that doesn't get hot on that end. I don't know, man.
It's one of those pencil irons. You can use it like a pencil.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. I've got a couple pencil irons, and I tell you, that end there where she's holding it does get warm. Believe me.
I think if she's going to use that, it will be very briefly.
That's right. That's right.
That's.
Now, if you run too much power on your amplifier, sometimes you set the the transformer on fire out back of your house right there.
Oh.
I do not suggest doing this. Now, the guy, look, he is insulated somewhat. He is on wood. It looks like he's got some kind of sandals on, so he has some insulation there if you don't spill any water, for sure. He's got a little bit of insulation. Yeah. And he couldn't find a plastic bucket. That's the only thing I can see wrong here.
Yeah.
He's using a metal bucket, man.
And just hope this thing doesn't go off.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, I would say put sand in there, but I'm not sure that would be very effective at putting out that fire.
No.
Yeah, probably wouldn't.
Dave, this might inspire a video of general safety concerns for some of your operators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you, we all have generators. And you really need to read the safety instructions with the generator. Now, one of the most important things that you can do with a generator, the most important thing is to get that ground rod in good old terra firma. Get that ground rod in some dirt.
He's set. He's good right there.
And this guy, I mean, it looks like he's taken all the steps that that's listed on the generator.
Mm-hmm.
I would have used an 8-foot ground rod instead of a 4-foot, but
it had to have been
actually that looks like about a 3-foot. To tell you the truth,
He just doesn't have dirt in a bucket.
Yeah, more dirt.
If he'd filled it up, he'd have been off. He'd been
More
all right.
dirt and a little bit longer ground rod.
Yeah.
I would say would fit the bill.
That's some way
right
to
there.
attach it to that metal pole it's stepped up against.
Yeah. Well, that metal frame is probably grounded somewhere. So
It could be.
actually, he might be okay. That although you might need to scrape a little paint off right there where that ground rod
Yeah.
will make better connection there.
I wonder if Jeff did his that way.
Jeff.
Jeff from New Jersey.
Oh, I don't know. He might have. See, it's Jeff.
You'll have to. I haven't seen him
Is
tonight.
Jeff in there? Okay. Well, and then here's the last one I've got. Now, guys, this is really mine. This is me. Now, I've tried this at Dayton. We've tried this, and we thought it was going to work okay. We did pre-test it before we left. And, you know, when we were outside in Dayton for like 30 years, you know, I mean, our hot dogs always tasted better than the ones we buy in the flea market down there next to the Johnny on the Spots, you know. So we decided, okay, well, we're not supposed to have any open fires there, so you know, we built us a hot dog cooker there with electrodes, and I took a little 1,000-watt generator, 1,000-watt 110-volt generator, and we plugged that thing in, and boy, let me tell you something. You would be surprised that those hot dogs pull that generator down really, really low, man. It almost sounds like it's going to die out there. And I think that needs to be redesigned. The first hot dog in line there got cooked the most. The hot dog toward the end didn't get as much cooking. So I think maybe putting them in series
I think series would have been better than parallel.
might have cooked them. The only problem is as the current goes through there, they start sizzling and they get, you know, juicy and grease and stuff, and their resistance changes in those hot dogs. And I think their resistance changes at different rates. So what's going to happen? You're going to have one hot dog take off a lot quicker than the other hot dogs when that resistance gets down real low. So we scrapped that idea. So, you know, Dave, that might be something you can test out there if you need to test something.
There you go. I think having the great big outdoors around here would be better because I could put that thing a lot further away.
Well, see, we've already got people thinking on the chat room here. We don't know if we used a light bulb limiter. Well, that would have been a good idea, and I have done that in the past. You know, put a light bulb in series to limit the current. You know, if you put a 100-watt bulb there, what 100 watt is about 1 amp at 100 volts. So, you know, that would limit your current to 1 amp. That would have not made the generator pull down.
Now, what if you had a 2,000-watt generator?
Well, you cook them a lot faster, I'm sure, with 2,000 watt.
Mm-hmm.
And
parallel may have worked.
maybe,
Series is probably going to be better.
Maybe, yeah.
You could have had more of them.
Yeah. Well, you know, we could cook them a lot faster, boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we did take a George Foreman grill one year there, and we had a bunch of, we cooked about 100 hot dogs one Saturday. People kept coming by the booth and getting hot dogs, and we were throwing them on that grill and cooking George Foreman hot dogs. And they cooked pretty good in that George Foreman grill. Well, guys, hey, that's about all we got tonight. I hope you enjoyed the "Don't Do This at Home" segment. Let me look at the chat room and see what we got here. Put a 1 kilowatt light bulb in. Yeah, we could do that. It'd cook them fast, wouldn't it? And we do need a bigger generator. Okay.
That's right. And to the best of our knowledge, no one was injured.
That's
in the
right.
Making
In
of
the
any of those
making
pictures
of these pictures, no one was injured.
that we're aware of.
So, guys, we're going to go to Hangout. It's about 9:10. We're going to go to Hangout. Let me just say again, for anyone listening on WBCQ shortwave on 5130 kilohertz, join us every Tuesday on W5KUB.com. If you've got internet, you can watch the show. You can get in the chat room. Send us an email to tom@W5KUB.com and let us know where you are. And let's see. Another announcement. William, NE4RD is in the chat room. It's very dark. He is at the Jamboree with all the scouts there in West Virginia. And he said that they will be live on the air tomorrow from 8 to 5. and he hopes we have arranged for him to stream live on w5kub.com whenever he wants to. If he wants to stream all day, all he goes is turn it on, and he's already tested, and we've got some test video back. And you may be able to watch the Scouts K2 BSA. He may be able to go live tomorrow around 1 or 2 o'clock. That would be Eastern, 1 or 2 o'clock, and he probably will stream for a few hours. And you can watch it right here on W5KUB. I did work K2 BSA yesterday when they were setting up testing. I did work them here on 20 meters, and it was a pretty good contact. So I guess we'll say good night. Dave, it's still early out there where you are.
Well, depends. My bedtime is sometimes early.
Yeah, you guys are so lucky out there. It don't get late till late out there. It gets late early here, and I feel really sorry for our guys on the East Coast. Boy, it really gets late there early.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what. We're going to go to Hangout in just a minute. Will somebody put the Hangout link in?
Which one of these works this?
Well,
It's not that one.
Walters want to know what mouse works. We only got 4 laying up here. Do you see the Hangout? It's up there.
It's usually.
Yeah, put the cursor up here like this, and then we're gonna go across like this. There we go. And I'm gonna copy it. Oop. I'm going to try to copy it. I think somebody just did it. I don't know. I'm going to copy it, and we're going to paste it here. This is a Hangout link. If you click on this link, you can join the show, guys. And I'll go ahead and set up here. While we're waiting on people to join, Walter and I will just probably chat a minute about a couple things. So let me get Hangout running. We'll see if it works tonight. I got to turn these things here off. Keep getting in my way. It says I'm the first one here, so I don't know if anyone else is trying it tonight or if we're having a Hangout problem. So you guys let me know if anybody's having trouble getting in Hangout. I'm there. I'm the first one there, it says, so we'll just stand by and we'll see if anybody else joins us.
Bill will probably be there.
Which Bill? Oh, Bill. Yeah, Bill usually be there.
Yeah.
WZ1L. He should be in.
See you in Hangout. All right.
All right.
There it is.
You guys come on and join us. We can. He says he's a Lone Ranger in Hangout. He says he's in Hangout, so he thinks he's the only one in there.
Is that Hangout?
Yeah. So see, we think we're the only ones in there. Bill thinks he's the only one in there. So Hangout is not working again tonight. There's an issue with Hangout. So let's do this. Oh, wait a minute.
You got to join it.
I got to join it first. I hadn't joined it. Well, that was my stupid. My bad.
Technique.
Look at there. There's some people out there.
There we go. There he is.
There's Bill.
Hey,
and
Bill.
there's KC1 HOX.
How are you?
Not too bad.
All right, there we go. Let's see if we can get some things running here.
KC1HOX.
Yeah. All right. How you doing, HOX? You got your mic? There you go. KC1HOX, hello. Don't hear you.
Okay.
You may not have your mic configured for the show or for Hangout. Got some funny noise on here tonight too. I don't know what it is. Well, Bill, how you doing up here? You're up in Massachusetts. There we go.
Yes. Amesbury, Massachusetts. I don't know. Walter, do you fly up across New England there, or
not often? No, we actually the Airbus will go into Boston on occasionally, on occasion, and going into the New York area. But I generally try not to I try not to get that far away from home.
Where do you fly most?
Well, I'll tell you, flying in over the harbor there and whatever. I mean, you have to take your what do you call it? Senses, and just remember that there is a bridge in front of you.
That's exactly right.
Bridge here, okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of those, help me here, Walter. I don't know if you remember. It's been a number of years. But one of those airports up in the northeast here, we had I think a 10 land and it flipped upside down. It landed on its back. Do you remember that, or you know about that?
The first one was Stewart, New York, just north of the city, and they had a fire on board in flight.
Yeah,
I made an emergency landing. Now we had.
I don't think this was a fire. I think this just bounced.
Yeah, well, one bounced and flipped over.
Because I had a friend that was flying on that one, and the pilot said to go back, and she was hanging, I'll say hanging from the ceiling. But
literally.
She's hanging from the floor, and they went back and got her down. And,
wow.
Of course, when it's upside down like that, it's not very far when you go out the window to the ground. I mean,
it's kind of crawl out.
You just crawl out to the ground, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, when that plane's sitting upright, it's a long ways down, man.
It is. It's a big jump.
Oh, man.
Well, the biggest thing I think that they have out there at Logan International Airport is the birds. They kind of like to fly around the flight line and whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot of places, especially near the coast, you get that. You got to be careful.
Yeah, well, they had a bunch of sparrows go in the engine, I think it was, of Eastern Airlines back in the day there when I was younger years there. And
yeah.
Crashed the plane. So.
Well, hey, Bill, your audio we're understanding you, but it sounds a little garbly. Why don't you go out? Is there something you can do? You did something last week and it cleared up.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did.
Let me try this. Is that any better? Test 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that sounds
a lot better.
Yeah, what do you do? I need to know. What do you do?
Well, that little sprocket up here in the right corner there, basically gives you, what video you use, what microphone you use, what speakers you use, etc., etc. So I mean, that little sprocket up in the right-hand corner of the Hangout page there, you got a guy with a plus sign, and then you got the sprocket, and then you got
don't tell me it said you were connected to the microphone that sounds garbly. All right.
Switch microphone.
Well, I'm on the microphone for Real Tech High Definition. Supposedly, it's working.
Okay, sounding good there.
That's better.
Hey, there's Douglas. Douglas, is that GOV there, Douglas? Let's see if Douglas says anything. Douglas is not talking. Hello, Mike. You Ooper? You?
Oh, Ooper's here.
Yeah, the Ooper.
He's here. So you don't like flying into New York or that area? I mean, northeast or?
I don't mind. It's just I don't normally get a chance to go that way.
Where do you fly mostly? I mean, you say close to home. I mean, you fly out west, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, in an airplane like that, I mean, you can do almost Mach 1 everywhere to be pretty close, right? I mean,
within reason.
Yeah, more than about.
I can only sit there about 2 hours.
3 hours away from home, are you?
Yeah.
Have you ever put that thing up to Mach 1?
Not that.
Will they get mad at you if you do that?
Yeah,
Do they?
It won't let you.
It won't?
How about now?
It's software driven.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we're hearing you. Was that Doug?
Does this work now?
Yeah, it's working.
Yep,
it's working.
You're fine.
I had to shut off the mixer.
Yeah, okay. You're doing good there now. Good to have you in here. So let me. I was asking.
Right, now, what about your video there? Change your video.
The video's stuck. I'm waiting for the new webcam to come in the mail.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I'm talking to Walter here about taking that A300 up to Mach 1. Now that plane will do Mach 1. I'm sure it will, won't it?
Without the software limits, it probably would.
Okay,
Yeah.
so somehow they got you governed back, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not.
yeah.
What if you had an emergency and you had to fly fast? Is there a way to override the software?
In that case, yeah, you can.
Could you do it from the plane,
Yeah.
or would they have to do it from the ground?
Oh, no. We could do it.
You could.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how to do it?
We'd figure it out.
You got that book over in a little.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you get
That's
that book.
The
You
one
got
that
that book?
says the book of
If
secrets.
and when all else fails, check
That's right.
the book.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, you're losing altitude pretty fast. You got 3 inches on fire, and you say, "Give me that book here, and let me look it up." Man.
Let's open the book of secrets
break,
and see what it
break
says.
glass in case of emergency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, okay. So you'd probably get fired if you did Mach 1. Would they know it? Would
Yeah.
they
Oh,
know?
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
have a little chip in there, like in a car,
yeah.
that they
Oh, yeah.
they stick in and they read, and it says, "Yeah, you did Mach 1."
Yep. Yep.
You know?
Yeah, well, if they tracked his plane there on, on the computer here, they see him. It would say went from 650 miles an hour to Mach 1.
Well, he could circle a couple times to delay
That's right.
his
That's
landing
right.
time. you know. Oh man. What's the?
So you fly to LA there quite a bit, then I take it, then, Walter.
I have been into LA a number of times. Yeah.
After John Wayne, maybe John Wayne Airport.
Yep. Been into John Wayne, Burbank, Long Beach, LAX,
Oh,
I'll get you
nice.
on the camera here. a
San
little bit.
Diego.
Let's see if I can.
You go into Oakland or San Francisco?
Been into both.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been into Ontario, Sacramento.
So what's the craziest stuff you hauled? You personally, anything crazy?
Racehorses.
Okay. Do they stand up when they fly? Or they
Yeah.
kind of get down?
Yeah, they sit-
kind of
they
tie
sit-
them into the wall or something back here.
There's special containers that they go in. It looks like a small little house with a porch on it,
Uh huh.
and they sedate them a little bit. The horses would have handlers that went with them.
Oh, okay. So the handlers would ride back there with them.
Yeah, kind of keep them under control.
Who cleans the place up back there after you? Who cleans the place up after they land?
I guess they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they in a sling? Are they in a sling to hold them from falling over? Or?
No, it's kind of it's aluminum thing that goes kind of down both sides. I guess I've
So
never.
it's kind of they're in a chute kind of
Yeah,
like
it's
they
kind of a
can't
little
really
chute thing.
they can't really fall. I
Yeah.
guess you know.
I guess they could lay straight down, but I tell you the truth, I've never really looked in there.
You know, have you ever carried baby chickens? I know that we have
Yeah,
done it before.
I think so. Yeah, we don't see those, but we know they're on board.
You know,
We've carried worms and crickets and.
there was a time or two. Those baby chickens, they're small. They can get out in boxes and run all around that airplane. You know.
We can get hot back here. We can have fried chicken.
Yeah, you could. And boy, I tell you, I've rode on there a few times where they carried bumblebees or some kind of bees.
Oh, really?
Bees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I hope no bees get out. Man.
Yeah.
You know,
There'll be dead bees
This
up
is
here.
not good.
Well, as long as they don't go in the passenger compartment, that's all we worry about.
We don't have many of those.
Yeah. Oh man. So Walter operated the radio. You weren't real familiar with how to get it on a ham band, were you?
You just got lucky that it was clear.
And it only has one sideband. You can't select
It
lower
just-
or upper,
and I
or
mean-
it just maybe it selects it automatically per the frequency or something.
They're just dials, and I don't.
Yeah.
I even asked one of the tech guys. I said, if I go from 20 meter to 40 meter, and he said, first off, his question was, "What's that?"
Yeah. So
And I said, how does it know if it's on single sideband, if it's upper or lower?
So
And he
you're
said-
asking the tech more than he knows.
He says, I have no idea. I'd have to research it.
Yeah.
But it just
Well,
said.
basically, I would assume that it's like all the rest of the radios nowadays there with the electronics, that if you hit 7.0000, it goes to lower sideband, and if you do 14.185, it would put you on upper. But
Well,
I mean,
that's what we're
don't know
thinking.
But it's just decimal point and 2 digits.
Decimal point
There's
2
my
digits.
Really?
You know?
Yeah, that's all.
Hmm.
We're talking old radio heads here. There's nothing new or current about it, and plus we're so antenna compromised that it's hard, difficult to do.
I wonder what kind of antennas on that
Well, they're
plane.
composite. I
Just
guess I don't.
maybe built into a wing or something.
Well, they're on the bottom. They're only about that
also on the
long.
bottom.
Yeah, well, there's 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top.
Yeah. So you're probably
And-
on 40 meters with 18-inch antenna, man. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you really don't stand much of a chance anyway.
well, I mean, it did good. I mean, back in the old days, man, they used to run a wire from like the cut pit back to the top of the tail back there. That'd be good
I
antenna.
don't know if you remember this or not, but when I was on right after we had done that, the guy was
Yeah.
actually came in chat.
Yeah,
He came in the
that's
chat
right.
and
The guy you talked to was in the chat room that
Yeah.
next night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
and we have emailed back and forth a number of times trying to get a QRZ confirmation, and for some reason it won't do it. he and I cannot get the confirmation. I think. Okay, here's somebody says they only do upper sideband.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, Doug, I don't know. It says the switch on the radio head says AM or SSB.
Yeah.
Those
Or sideband. Yeah.
It's SSB. Those are your two choices.
Yep.
He's saying that it's going to default to USB.
Well, probably that frequency it is. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
So if I'm on 40 meters, it's going to default to lower.
It could.
I don't know.
It could be
Because it's a dial. It's a dual dial thing.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna throw something out here, and probably everybody will start yelling at me. Mike, don't yell. You hear people say I'm W5KUB aeronautical mobile, or I'm W5KUB marine mobile, or whatever. Now I think, and I had this information one time, but we're gonna have to get Riley Hollingsworth back on the show. Riley has not been on the show in a few months. Riley is retired from the FCC, and I just talked to him again, and we're going to be getting Riley back on the show to answer questions. But my understanding was, if you're flying in an airplane, you're not aeronautical mobile. If you're on a boat, you're not marine mobile. The only thing that makes you aeronautical mobile, if my memory is right, is you had to be in international territorial waters or something like that. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you're flying over the U.S., you would just be mobile. You wouldn't necessarily be. But I know it's all just terms and terminology.
You say aeronautical, you're letting people know you're in the air.
Yeah, you are. You can just say, or you can say,
this is a balloon for all that.
This is W5KUB mobile in an airplane. So I know it's a real controversial subject. I think there are some real rules that technically clear that up. But we'll get Riley one night to.
97.
Or you dug deep into the rules to find that.
Yeah, we'll get Riley some night.
Of all the issues ham radio has, that's goes to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Mark P. Oh, hey, Mark P's got his license. KE8HIW. Mark P.
Congrats.
has got his general license call in this week. Congratulations to
Very
Mark.
good,
Congratulations.
Mark. Well done.
Wait a minute. Congratulations. Y'all aren't going to hear this on the show, but stand by or on Hangout. Stand by. All right. Well, that was the audience there giving an applause to Mark P. for getting his license. You guys on Hangout didn't hear it.
All I heard was some kind of music.
You don't hear the inside. You don't hear our audience.
The live audience.
Here, let's let them hear the audience. Wait, we can make them hear the audience. Wait a minute. All right. Audience, here we go. All right, turn it back down. There you go. All right, I wanted you guys to hear that. Let's see.
Now we got to find him a radio so we can use it.
Yeah, Mark needs to get him a radio for sure.
You can come to Huntsville and win one.
Well, he could do that. He said he was in Indianapolis. He said he had to drive a couple hours to get there. You know, he was right there where
What did you say?
everything
come to
was.
Dayton again?
You know.
Come to Huntsville and win it.
Oh, yeah, come to
but I'm
Huntsville.
gonna win it this year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He lives right out of Dayton, near Kettering.
Okay.
He's in Kettering.
All right.
Yeah. So you're gonna try to win a radio this year, huh?
Well, we're going.
You know, hey, the chances are gonna be better because Joe K0NEB always fills the barrel up with tickets, and he usually wins 6 or 8 prizes at Huntsville. So I've been challenging him the last few years, and we'll add up the winnings, see who wins the most. And I don't think he won anything last year. I won the Yazoo FT991 last year.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so I
You
came,
win something, 900 tickets.
I came in
I
good.
remember that, Tom.
I
You
came
won the
in good.
991, and they asked you if you wanted the 991 Alpha, which was coming out like a couple months later, and you said, "Yeah, I want that one."
Yeah, well, actually,
Sure.
the nice thing
Latest
about
and
it,
greatest.
the nice thing about it, I won the 991. It was donated by R&L Electronics, and I know Roger up there. Roger, I guess, is R of R&L. And anyway, Roger came to me and said, and first I said, Roger, I said, my wife was just talking to Ray Novak a couple hours ago, and she was going to buy me a 7300. And then I won this thing, so now I don't need to buy another radio. And he said, do you this is a 991. He says the 991A is coming out next month, and it will have the real-time spectroscope. Do you want to just wait and me send you the new one? I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, I'd rather have that. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He says, I've got a 7300 here to show. I'll give you a 7300 right now. They're both about the same price. You can have the 7300 if you want it. But I just stuck with the 991A because it had the 2 meter and 440 on it. It's got a lot more radio in it. But yeah, I'll give me a 7300 someday.
You will.
You got one.
We
got one down the
still got to
street.
come do this video.
I got
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Love it. It's a great radio.
Yeah.
We just got to get
No,
some
it is a great
propagation.
radio.
So what we're going to do one night here on the show, we're going to have Walter bring down his 7300, and I'll put my 991 over here next to each other. And I'm not going to badmouth this radio because I hear it's a real good radio.
That's right.
So, but we're going to show you the difference, show you the size of the display and some of the functions and the size of the whole radio, and just talk a little about it, and show you guys that. I did a little 2-minute video on turning the 991 on and just showing the screen, and man, in about 2 weeks I had like 15,000 views on that on that YouTube. So I think if we put the 7300 and 991 together and talk about it on a show, I think there'll be a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
Let's see. John says 7300 is a nice rig to go. Have 7300. I have a 7300. It must be getting late there. John's not talking real good.
He's up in Two-Land, so it must be
yeah,
getting late.
yeah. He's
That's that area you were talking about.
It's after his bedtime there. Kurt's got a IC 7000. Wow. Let's see. Well, I'm so glad that Mark has got his license now. And why hadn't Mark in it? Why hadn't Mark called into the Hangout tonight? Wow.
Yeah, he was here last week.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the filters on the 7300. Very good filtering.
Yeah. Well, now he's got his license. See, he's snubbing us. See, he won't get in Hangout with us. So we'll just see. So, how many of you guys out there can we talk you into coming down to Huntsville? Boy, it's humdinger. Mike from the Ooper. You ought to come down.
Nah, I won't be able to make it, but I'll watch it. I'll watch the show.
You still got.
Oh yeah, I'm going to try and win something this time around.
Yeah.
Well, you won before.
Except Emmett doesn't know who I am.
Both of you guys have won before, haven't you?
Darn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when I was standing next door to you in the flea market out in Dayton, I never won any.
Well, you just can't bribe Hambot. You can't bribe
I know,
Hambot,
Hambot.
and let me tell you, The thing about Hambot is you can't argue with Hambot because Hambot don't argue. Let me put
right.
Hambot on here, man. Here's Hambot. Let's see. Here's Hambot. I don't know what's. There he is. He's working. He's working. Here's Hambot right here. Don't mess with me, he says. So you can't argue with Hambot. Used to when we didn't have Hambot, people would say, "Hey, I called and you didn't see my name and blah blah blah." And since I'm an easygoing guy, I'd always give in, you know. But that don't happen anymore. You can't argue with Hambot.
No, you can't.
Oh, so what kind of plane is this? What kind of plane is this right here? Is that a 757 or something, or a
Looks like 787. That's
really?
a Dreamliner.
787 could be.
Might be.
I don't know, man. Could you fly that plane? Can you fly a 787?
Yeah. I just had to go to school for it, but yeah, you can
I
fly.
mean, could you fly without going to school? If you were on that 787, and we all of a sudden the students comes down the aisle and says, "Is there a pilot on board?" Would you say yes?
Yeah.
All right, and then she says, "Would you come up front?" And then you go up front and you see that both pilots have kind of they ate something bad and they're all knocked out. And
Tell them to cancel the catering.
so, you think you could land that thing?
Yeah.
Would you have to get the book?
No.
You could land it without the book.
Yeah.
Man.
Up the inflatable autopilot.
That's right. I put on my yellow rubber ducky.
Pilot, with the stewardess.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get her up front. We're going to shut the door.
Would, would you need her to help you, or
Most likely. Yeah.
You couldn't do it by yourself?
You'll need a little bit of assistance.
Yeah. Wow. We've talked about this before. And I won't go into it real long, but we had a hijacking years ago of one of our planes by a pilot, and he went in there with a spear gun and a ball peen hammer and some other things, and he about took the crew out. And he was going to crash the plane back into our offices here in Memphis, and the crew put up a fight. And now there was only one guy flying that, because the navigator at the time he had a ball peen hammer basically through his skull. He was pretty much out. I think.
It was on the side of his head.
The co-pilot.
That was the co-pilot.
Oh, that was the co-pilot that got the ball peen. Both of them, the two of them, got really in bad shape. I know they're bleeding.
Yes.
And in fact, the interesting part of the story was that just a matter of minutes before that flight, I think the navigator was supposed to have been a woman, and because of the hours or something that the crew flew, there was a change.
She was supposed to be first officer. And
Okay.
And the captain was going to have been a small guy.
So there would have been two guys and a woman on there.
It was a matter of very few minutes, like anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes.
So that probably saved the people there. I'm not saying the woman can't put up a good fight, but
Well, that guy would have been the engineer.
oh, would he?
He would have been the third crew member.
Oh man! So they fought and fought and fought, and it was pretty bad here. One was out of commission. The other one was he had the hijacker down in the back trying to subdue him, and the guy kept picking up, I don't know, a hatchet or a spear gun or something, trying to shoot him. And the pilot actually flipped this DC-10 over 170 degrees, I think. Now, have you ever flown your plane 170 degree inverted? That's that's not totally upside down, but
No, not out of the simulator. No.
oh, okay. So, and now that was over Arkansas. And when he did that, does that cause G's and stuff? I mean, when you turn the plane upside down?
Yeah.
So these guys now are on a ceiling fighting it out. A ceiling or a floor? They're on a ceiling, I guess. When they turned the plane over, they lost the engine cowling, I think, over Fort Smith, Arkansas, and the fight went on quite a while. And the pilot brought that plane back, and I guess it was a pretty good landing, wasn't it? He came in pretty hard. He came in heavy.
Well, when they finally they were coming into one runway, he saw he wasn't going to make it, went around, circled around, came back to another runway,
Yeah.
and got it on the ground that time.
Yeah, I remember on audio they gave him a runway, and he actually said, you know, I'm something like I wouldn't have taken it. I'm taking a different runway.
Basically, they gave him the airport.
Yeah,
they cleared
so
everybody else out of the
he
airspace.
made a really sharp turn and landed that thing, and I don't know. I guess at pretty good speed. You have to slow that thing down when you land, don't you?
Well, as you're rolling out, yeah. But something like that, I'm sure he was a little higher than normal speed.
Yeah. So he came in kind of fast. He came in probably heavy. Came in with all the fuel, all the freight, and he landed it.
Yep.
And that was pretty good work, I guess. And
that was.
See, if I'd been up here, I think the pilot used the wrong words. The pilot was telling the other guy back in the back, just kill him, But I would have said, open the door and throw him out. That's what I would have done.
Exactly.
But
you do the best you can.
Anyway, that was some experience. That would have been a big deal. Crash that plane. But hey, that's the only one we've had. I think only hijacking we've had.
Yeah. Hopefully the only one we'll ever have.
Yeah. Have a few emergencies every now and then. Maybe a fire or something. You carry a lot of you carry what?
Lithium batteries.
All the material, the hazardous material. Do you mind carrying hazardous material?
No. I mean, I don't mind as long as it's got to be packaged right and stored right and tied down right and separated and all that sort of stuff. And the first officer normally goes back and he checks all that. Yeah. And comes back up, and we get a printout of what's back there, and we can review it.
Well, that's good.
Nice big plane load of Samsung cell phone batteries.
There you go. Yeah, we don't even carry those anymore.
You don't?
Mm-mm. Best of my knowledge, we don't even carry Chinese lithium batteries.
That'd be a lot of batteries.
That'd be a
lot. Well, maybe you wouldn't have a whole load, but I flew out of Brussels, Belgium one time, and we had engine blocks on board.
Did you?
Yeah, it was full of engine blocks.
Years ago, they used to take the DC-10 over Japan, and they would pick up plane loads of blue jeans and bring them back.
Now, here's another deal that was interesting. I flew, I think it might have been that flight when I flew it over to Belgium, but I flew to Stansted, England, and from there down to Brussels. But at Stansted, they got a hole cut in the airplane, in the side of the airplane, a hole's cut, and they just taped it up. We flew on down to Brussels with tape on it, probably only maybe a 6 or 8 inch hole, but
that's speed tape. I mean, that's high quality stuff. You didn't get that at Harbor Freight.
Yeah, they just stuck that tape on there, and the pilot said, it shouldn't be a problem. He said we may have to fly low and slow or something like that, or with oxygen or something. I don't know what he said, but why? Well, I guess if you got a hole in it, you won't pressurize.
You won't pressurize.
So that's why I was saying we might have to fly with oxygen. So it was a pretty short flight from England to Belgium.
Ferry flight, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was over about 2 weeks, and that plane came back and picked me up and still had their tape on the side.
I'm not surprised.
Why don't they fix that?
The same question I ask.
Yeah, man.
I ask that question quite often, actually.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, guys, it's 9:45 almost.
Oh, wow.
And I know it's getting almost your bedtime.
It's
about time for me to get a peanut butter sandwich. I see Mark P. didn't join us tonight. He didn't join us. I'm going to have to get on him about that. He may still be in the chat room.
He's over in the chat room, sending some kind of link, whatever that is.
I
know what that is. That's the story. That's the story of 704. Yeah.
Is that the flight I was just talking about?
Yeah.
There's a whole movie on it called Air Disaster. Some channel ran it, and they had the whole thing laid out, and they show everything, man.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a real intense show, look up Air Disaster. It's at FedEx flight. What was it? 704. 704.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get off here. Anybody else got anything interesting to say before we leave? I mean, come on, talk to us.
No, we actually hit 90 degrees in the UP here today.
90?
So they're excited for here.
Wow.
It's 80. Oh, it's cool down here. It's 80.2.
Well, we're down to 68 now, so that's more normal for us.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Tom, you've been getting a lot of rumbling from that mic all night.
Oh, the one I've got on, or one that
The one you got on.
the one I've got on, rumbling.
Are you using both?
Maybe. No, this was turned down. It may be.
That's your Adam's apple, Bones.
It may be.
Oh, that's it.
Is that causing it there?
No, I don't hear it now.
Okay.
All right.
You know, I had a little trouble with one of these a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's going bad on me or not. I'll have to start watching it. This is the white one.
I wonder if it was just your skin brushing across the windscreen of that thing. Because I think if you take it like this, that's what they're talking about.
I don't really not.
All right, guys, I'm going to turn this thing off. Good night to everybody. 7-3. We'll see y'all next time.
Good night.
Good night, Walter.
Good night, Walter.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get off here and visit Walter a minute. And thanks, everybody, for being with us tonight.
Right,
Next
never
week.
freeze, everybody.
Yeah, next week I'm supposed to have Jerry Ellsworth on. Jerry is a self-taught engineer. She, in her home, designs chips and transistors, and there's some YouTube videos of her actually building a race car. She built race cars, did all the welding and everything. So
Yeah, I watched her on the date when you interviewed her. She's quite the gal.
yeah, it's just going to be an interesting show. That's next week.
Jeff chased her all over the place.
Yeah, Jeff did a little interview with her. Yeah. You weren't there, but you saw it?
I saw
Okay.
I saw it when it was going on. I happened to be on.
Okay. Let's see. Thanks, Kurt. We'll see you up here in New Jersey. See you later. John, 73. See you down in Huntsville. That's probably it. I'll check this mic out, guys. And is it been really bad? Real bad, or just noisy, or what?
I don't know. It doesn't sound too bad to me.
Well.
No, but go and rewatch the video later.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. I can go in here right now and watch it, and I can watch the Hangout, and I'll be able to hear it. And hey, I wouldn't be surprised. Some of that might be coming from Walter here.
You never know.
Blame it on Walter.
Yeah, that's right. Blame it on me. It's like being at home.
Yeah. All right.
I just mentioned it because your audio is on that show is usually very excellent.
Yeah. Let's see something here. I want to see how they turned up. So let's see. All right. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3. Test. Test. That's weird. That is really weird. Weird.
I'm hearing it right now.
You know, something's wrong. Wait a minute. Test. What in the world's going on here? I'm looking at the lights on the wireless receiver. See them right there? See the lights on the AF lights on the.
Yeah.
It says RF and AF. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Oh wait, I got two. I had two mics on.
You work on the different here.
Yeah, let's see. I want to see which channel it was. All right, test 1, 2. Okay, that's on that channel there. All right, say something, Walter.
Test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test.
You're not turned on. You're not turned on. Say something in yours.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Well, they're both about. Actually, mine is a little hotter than that one. So, say
Yeah, I
something
hear it
again.
right
Testing.
Man, yours is.
Testing. See if this microphone works.
You think it's my mic? Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know. I'll go back and look at the video, and we'll see if we can figure out what's going on here. All right, guys. Good night. See you later.
Good night.
Good to see you.
Okay, going on 11 o'clock here, so we guess we were going to call it a night here too.
Peanut butter and marshmallow tonight. Hi. We'll see you guys later.
That's great. Stick a banana in there too.
Yeah, well, I don't have any bananas.
Okay, well.
Good night there, Mike. See you soon.
Okay, see you next week.